What's up, dudes? It's your boy Happy Chappy here. Welcome back to another episode. Look at on this one, we are going to be building an AFK auto bone meal generator or bone meal farm. This is a pretty easy build. This is pretty straightforward. This is the core of the entire farm right here. And yeah, let's get into it. Now, the way that I have this divided up is this top section here. This is the main part of the farm. So if you do want to scale the farm, this is everything that you need to bring in order to double it up. Okay, so you need to bring in your 9 plus 57 of grass block, 9 composters, 9 slabs, 8 glowstone, a stack plus 28 of fences, 9 trap doors, 9 hoppers, a chest, 64 or a stack of glass of some kind, and then at least 8 stacks of potatoes. You're going to need to bring along 4 mine carts with 4 beds and then a single rail as well too. For the item sorter, these are the items that you're going to need here. And then for the fast furnace as well too, you're going to need to bring along these items. Okay, now the reason why we are building this farm the way we are, we'll talk about later in the video. Okay, we have a little setup over there that we will get to. Okay, now this is a pretty big build, but it does produce a lot of bone meal in a short amount of time. The reason why we need the item sorter in it is because this farm is so big that, I don't know, it seems to be that it doesn't matter what we plant or how we plant it, even though the crops stay as potatoes, no matter what, you still end up with wheat in the inventory, and then as well as poisonous potatoes. So these are the 2 items that we have to separate, and yeah. Okay, if you're wondering, all of these items fit nicely into a double shulker box, okay, or a single shulker box, and then some inventory. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do for this build is find yourself a nice little 23 by 23 area in the ground like this. And then somewhere offset from the center, what you're going to do is you're going to put down a double chest. Now I'm going to dig mine 2 down into the ground. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to run a hopper going into that chest, place a composter on top of it, with another hopper in, or going into that composter anyways. And then what you're going to do is you're going to remove this composter. We'll put this in after we get the rest of the farm all set up. And once you've got that all set up, what you're going to do is off of this hopper here, what you're going to do is you're going to set up your fast furnace, and you're going to make sure that it is 7 furnaces long in total. So okay, and once your fast furnace is complete here, what you're going to do is come to the end, and you're going to set up a dual item sorter in order for you to filter out your poisonous potatoes and your bread as well too. Once you have your item sorter set up and complete, what you're going to do is run 2 hoppers over the top like this. And then on these hoppers down here, below these top ones, what you're going to do is run 4 of any block across the top there. And then what you're going to do is in one of the hoppers, you're going to put 42 pieces of bread. As you'll see, one will go down to the hopper below, and then it will lock here. And then you can put 42 pieces of poisonous potatoes. Same thing. And then on top here, what you're going to do is you're just going to put a chest right here. Now, if you put any items in this chest here, as you'll see, the poisonous potatoes and the bread all get sorted into the chest that they need to, and the other items end up down here at the end of the hopper chain. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to put a hopper going into that chest right there, with another one on top of it. Then what you're going to do is you're going to run 3 hoppers around going into that one, and then the same thing on the other side, leaving yourself a little hole in the middle. Then what you're going to do is on the bottom of this hopper, make sure you're aiming at the bottom half of it. What you're going to do is place your slab, and then 1 more hopper here in the corner, just like that. When you are all done and complete, this is what your entire system should look like. So you should have your dual item sorter with your fast furnace coming off of the end of it. Next, what you're going to do is on these hoppers here, or around these whole hoppers here, what you're going to do is build a 23 by 23 platform and make sure that is out of your grass blocks. Once that's all done, you should have a 23 by 23 platform. All of your hoppers should be directly in the middle, okay, just like that. The first slab of the hopper section here, okay, literally dead section of this whole thing, so it should be 11 out each direction, right from this slab here in the middle. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to place a rail over top of these 4 hoppers here on each side, and then place a minecart over top of each one. Then what you're going to do is you're going to place a solid block in the corners, or in the open corners anyways, because you have the hopper there. Next, you're going to remove the rails from below the minecarts here. Okay, this can be tough to do, but just make sure you're on the hitbox there, as you can see, okay? Once that's all done, what you're going to do is you're going to place a trapdoor above each minecart, and then in front of each minecart you're going to place down another trapdoor and close it up. This will ensure that you or nobody else accidentally bumps these minecarts and takes them out of place. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to come to the corner where we just placed those solid blocks, and what you're going to do is you're going to place down 3 more, making it a 2 by 2 area. Okay, do that for all 4 corners. Next, what you're going to do is from the center part here, you're going to come to the very end, and you're going to count in 4 blocks, so 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And then on the 5th block here, what you're going to do is you're going to remove that block, place a slab down, fill it with water, and then come over to the corners and repeat the same process. So come down 4 blocks or 5 blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then come in 5 blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remove that block there, place a slab down, then some water, and then repeat that process for those corners, the center there, the other corner, and then so on. As you can see, every piece of soil is saturated with water because of our, water placements that we chose. Next, all you're going to do is come around to the back side here and run your fences all the way around the back to contain, all of the farm here. Once you have everything complete, this is what it should all look like. So you should have kind of your pyramid shapes here. Next, all you're going to do is come to these, where we built up the dividers here. And what you're going to do is you're going to make this whole section 2 blocks high in total. Okay, we'll talk about why that is here in a second. Do not cover the hopper though. And once that's done, what you are going to do next is, one section at a time. What you're going to do is you're going to place down a bed here. You are going to lose a crop, but that is okay. And then on the back side here, what you're going to do is you're going to place a composter with a solid block on the top side like that. So that way no villager can jump up on top of that and get out. Same thing over here on the top. Okay, you're going to want to put a roof down there first, so that way the villager can't jump up and get out, because they can jump up on these trapdoors. And then you're going to get your villager in place. He should link to everything here, and then you can repeat that process on the next 3 sides over here. And once you are all done and complete and you have everybody in place, this is what it should look like. Nobody should be able to hop out because we have the fences and then everything else is blocked. Next, what you are going to do is you need to get your villager into this part here. So run your minecarts up and over and then drop your villager down into this hole here. Okay, once you have your villager in place, what you're going to do is run 2 hoppers up like this, and then run your 3 hoppers around and into that hopper there, just like we did before. You're going to place your slab on the bottom side of the hopper here. Okay, and then what you're going to do is you're going to repeat that process, that entire build process, however many times that you want for this farm. Now for me, I found that 4 times was good, so yeah, we're going to duplicate this process here 4 different times, or 3 more times anyway, sorry. Okay, once you are all done, this is what your entire farm here should look like. It's probably a good idea to maybe put some light sources over top of the water blocks here, just so that way, no mobs end up spawning within any of these platforms here with your villagers. Okay, once everything is done and you have your lights in place, it's probably just a good idea to just give this thing some, you know, a glass roof or something, so that way no mobs or anything can also spawn on top of these upper blocks up here. But that is it. That is your farm done and complete. It's probably a good idea to maybe give this thing an entire roof, so that way no lightning strikes will turn these guys into witches. Same with this guy here in the center. Probably a good idea just to close him off entirely. Another thing that you can do is put glass blocks over top of the beds here like this. That way when the villagers wake up in the morning, they don't jump out of bed and end up stomping any of the crops. But once you are done, that is your farm done and complete. As you have seen, you know, during the daytime, the villagers here will, you know, harvest all of their crops per level here. Once they have harvested enough crops, all of these guys here will start to try and trade their crops with the villager here in the middle. What ends up happening is the minecarts end up instantly picking up the, you know, the crops from the villagers. We go down here. What ends up happening is that all of the items get funneled down from all of the villagers trading. They end up down here in this chest. They end up going across the hoppers here into the fast furnace. And once your items get down here to the end, they get passed through to the hopper and into the furnace. As you can see, all of the furnaces here are at an even number. So they're all equal, except for this one here at the end for some reason. I'm not sure why. Okay, but so far everything is working. Now all we have to do is come down here for our last step, place our composter here, and then put some fuel in these furnaces. Once you have your fuel source in these furnaces, what happens is they all start to turn these into baked potatoes. The baked potatoes get shuffled through the bottom half here, over into this hopper, down through the composter, and then turned into bone meal. Now the reason why we set this up for baked potatoes with the fast furnace, as opposed to just bringing them down and composting the potatoes themselves is, okay, if we look here, we'll do a test. What I have here is 64 potatoes in this side, and then 64 baked potatoes in this side. And if we hit this switch, now if we look and see, if we check this chest here, as you'll see, we have 6 bone meal. If we check this one over here, we have 8. And the reason why that is because if we check the Minecraft wiki here, as you can see that baked potatoes have an 85% chance of turning into bone meal, as opposed to regular potatoes, which only have a 65% chance. So that is why we set everything up here, kind of sort of like we do. And as you can see, just from one day-night cycle, okay, we already have, you know, stacks of baked potatoes in all of these furnaces here. And these ones here are already starting to load up too as well. So if we just let this thing run overnight, what I found from these 4 pillars, or these 4 stacks anyways, is that when I did a 5-hour test, what I came back to was 3.5 things filled with bone meal. And I should say that this was 3.5 stacks of bone meal, and the furnaces were still full, and these hoppers up here were full as well too. So basically, if I had set up like a massive furnace smelter system kind of thing with like maybe 14 or 15 furnaces going, you know, in a 5-hour session, easily would have gotten a double chest full of bone meal from this farm. So okay, there it is there. It's a pretty sweet little setup. It works very well. It's very efficient. The only thing I found is that sometimes, you know, these guys may de-link and then end up, the center guy here may end up linking with the composter to the outside. But then, you know, after another day-night cycle, it just switches back because obviously this guy doesn't have access to it. If you want a better look at it, this is what the core of the system looks like here. Like I said, it's just your hoppers all running into the hopper, you know, chain here, which comes down into the chest with your hopper minecarts on top of it. And this is where your crop fields are. Okay, so I'll try to get a good look at it there. Okay, so there's your hoppers all running into it with your slab on the lower half, and then that with your item sorter on the backside to collect the poisonous potatoes and the bread, and then your fast furnace setup. Okay, but there it is right there, you guys. That is my AFK bone meal super farm thingamabobber. There is a world download available from the Doer website. Don't be afraid to cop yourself some merch while you're there. Support your boy and his editors, and I'll definitely catch you boys on the next one. Peace.